Boom, coming in hot, Chinch. What's going on, man?
Yeah,
Back at it.
Lot to get to. What time did you get to sleep last night?
Oh, my God, dude. Like 3 a.m. I got home. I did the late show, Padres, Dodgers. And next thing you know, boom. You mean the Big Lambooski are at it about 8:15.
Wow, that's a tight turnaround. All right, well, we got so much to do. We got the boo. First of all, let me just quickly say, I texted you guys the link this morning, and Boo's response was, quote, "Feed me some red meat. Open the cage. LFG." So we know what we're getting into there. So let's start quick. There he is.
Boys, I don't care how early it is. All right, I'm ready.
Yeah, there we go. All right, so let's start with baseball. Case, which game you starting with?
Oh man, why don't we just go down the list? We'll start with the Phillies.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's start with the Phillies Braves, because I think that was I think I was wondering what the layoff was going to look like for teams that played the wild card, because obviously baseball players, as Boo knows, are creatures of habits, routines, everything like that, but rhythm. So when you don't play for 5 days, the rhythm gets hit a little bit. I just felt like the Phillies just rolled over that series from the Cardinals. They came out banging right away. I mean, they were, Castellanos and Segura and guys were just hitting a boom, and guys were hitting the ball all over the place. One thing I love too, Bryce Harper lays down a bunt.
Yep.
He gets 3 knocks too. He's hitting the ball all over the place. They came out with a barrage, and then they just held on because the Braves did come back. Matt Olson hits a 3-run bomb in the ninth to make it 7-6 in Atlanta. But I tell you what, the one thing about a layoff, if it ends up hitting your rhythm and you lose a game because of it, that's not good. And I felt like that's what it was with the Braves. They just couldn't get going. And all of a sudden, Max Fried's stuff wasn't as sharp. And all of a sudden, it was, game over 7-6.
Plus, you're punched in the mouth with 2 runs in the top of the first of your first postseason game. Like, bam, right there. And they kept it pedal to the metal. 12 for 36 were Phillies hitters. That's pretty awesome, huh?
Yeah. They were ready.
All right.
They came out banging.
Yeah. So the most boring game of the day that turned out to be the most exciting game of the day was Mariners Astros. That was crazy, huh?
Well, incredible. Like, same as Max Fried. Verlander comes out, goes 4 innings, gives up 10 runs and 10. Not 10 runs, gives up 10 hits, and they just were all. They were on him right from the jump. He was the guy I thought, man, he's going to come out and dominate, and the Mariners were just ready to go. And but that Astros team is good, man. But it was the same thing. It was the same thing I saw. Oh man, they're lackadaisical. They've come out, not ready to go. But one guy that did was Yordan Alvarez. I mean, he was coming out the jump. Just the guy, the way he goes to left center is just incredible. And him driving the ball over the place. And then it was 7-3. And you go back and look at that game, bro. Bregman hits a hits a huge 2-run home in the 8th that you maybe didn't even think much about, like, it's 7-5, it's good. And then all of a sudden, the Astros get 2 on in the 9th. And I just think Scott Service bringing in Robbie Ray was not, Sewald has been your closer all year long. And you're in game 1, you're bringing in Robbie Ray, who is one of your starters. So he doesn't close, even though he's a great pitcher. It's a different role. He's not a closer. And go look at Alvarez's numbers against lefties. It's like 330. It's ridiculous, his numbers against lefties. And against Sewald, he was 1 for 7 with 3 punchouts. Against Robbie Ray, he's faced him. He's 1 for 3 with 2 walks.
That's a weird move.
He sees him well. And when he took that first swing, Ray threw like a 94, 95 mile an hour fastball, middle way, that Alvarez just fouled back. I'm like, oh my God, is he on him? I even told Sarah, I go, wow, he's on him. Next pitch, middle in, which the history they have is he pitches Alvarez middle in, and he hits one second deck walk off that Dusty Baker said it was one of the best games he's ever been a part of. Boom, maybe you could speak to that, brother, because you've been a starter and you've been a reliever. Am I correct in saying there's a different mentality in that, especially if you're a starter in the same season?
There is absolutely 100% a mindset and a routine and things that, all baseball players go through, and especially as a pitcher. And in case, I don't know if you looked at the percentages and the numbers in the past of like when a starter comes out. I know years ago, I remember the lefty Bumgarner where he was just so lights out. They just threw him in every situation. I guess it's kind of like, the guy's stuff. Seawald to excuse service, he just hasn't pitched well at the end of the year. So maybe you're inclined to, hey, listen, my starter stuff is a lot better. So I'm going to throw whatever it was. It didn't work out. And they're all thinking about it today. And again, we can all play Monday morning quarterback, but it happened. Give Yordan Alvarez credit, man. He crushed a 3-run home run to win the game. You know what I mean? So you got to give the hitter credit. Case, but you're right. Throwing guys off routines. I never like being a starter. And all of a sudden I'm going to come in a situation that I'm not used to. It's just a different animal, man. It's just a different animal.
Wow. Look at this. Multi-talented Boo right now. Just two-sport player.
What our people might not know about Boo is he really was a pro baseball player.
Yeah.
So they say.
A pro football player. And he knows so much about football. But to ask Boo that question, he's the guy that really was a starter in his career and a reliever, eighth inning guy, a closer. He pretty much did everything.
There you go. Now
I appreciate that, Case. Thank you.
Nice. All right, moving on to the Guardians and the Spanks. Kind of ho-hum. Like, I got Garrett Cole on a mound. Garrett Cole turned back into Super Garrett Cole, I think.
Yeah.
And, dude, we got to give credit. Crushing Harrison Bader. We've been crushing Harrison Bader for like a month and a half. He came through pretty big yesterday.
He went deep, yeah. Hey, Bader came through. Mm-hmm. Rizzo came through. Garrett Cole came through with an absolute awesome outing, with some dominant stuff. But at the end of the day, the Guardians, you won that first series against the Rays. You won 2-1 on the 2-run homer, and you won 1-0 in 15 innings on Oscar Gonzalez's walk-off. You come into Yankee Stadium in game 1 of the division series and you score 1 run. So you scored 4 runs in 3 games. And I mean like 34 some plus innings. That's not going to cut it. No. That's not going to cut it. Like if you're the Guardians, you got to find a ways to score. I know you're not a big home run hitting team.
Yeah.
But you have to find ways to score. You cannot go up there and just like nickel and dime your way to get to the World Series. So that's a concern with me when I look at the Guardians. They have to hit more. They have to get more guys on base. But the Yankees, they came out and they did what they had to do. And I love seeing my man Rizzo, going deep there, back legging it and postseason tested.
Yeah. How about this? Do you remember we did it? It might've been like our first Fun Bag Friday ever. We were arguing because the New York Post had reported that the Yankees were considering they weren't going to re-sign Rizzo. And I was like, they're like, they talk about his decline and your age and whatever bullshit. The guy is a winner and a huge big game hitter and doesn't strike out. Boom, boom, boom. How do you, locked?
Dude, Chinch, you're exactly right. And the guy's the biggest part of what you said, he's the leader.
Right.
This guy's a leader. Like they say when Rizzo got in that clubhouse, he changed everything. He lightened it up. He made Judge feel. I honestly feel if Judge doesn't hit 62 without Anthony Rizzo in that clubhouse. That's how I feel because it looks like he's having fun, enjoying himself. All the guys are. And I know Riz and what he did in Chicago, he's a big part of what they're doing in New York, especially for culture.
Yeah. Great point about Judge.
Listen, guys, I'm going to chime in. I couldn't agree more with you, Case and Chinch. That guy is everything you need in the locker room to win a championship. You're talking to the championship guy. I'm the Lord of the Rings. All right, guys? I get what locker rooms look like when you're on your way to a championship. And a guy like Anthony Rizzo, you can't put a price on a tag on what that guy brings. I'm telling you, for everybody. And in the playoffs, Case, you know about everything. You need to slow the game down. The crowds are bigger. Everything is more uptight. If you don't have somebody that can let you cool down and relax so that you can get comfortable and play and stay within your game, it just happens too fast. Next thing you look up, series over, you lose, the other team wins. What's the difference? Everybody's talented at this point. It's those guys and those people in the locker rooms that are just winners, and he's that. So my 2 cents, guys.
Boom.
Hey, bada bing, bada boom.
Nice job. 6 championships in 10 years, Justin Lambert, the Lambooski. Just
there you
saying.
go. The winner. He's just a proven winner. All right, Dodgers Pods, Case. You were the one that this kept you up all night.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, I'll tell you what. The one thing that I learned last night that when you think about layoffs, when I was with the Tigers in 06, we had 6 or 7 days off before we played the Cardinals because they went to 7 games against the Mets. And I know that hurt us because we just couldn't get going. I felt like even looking back now, we were the better team. but that routine and that rhythm, that creature of habit, we just couldn't get going. The Dodgers, I guess they really, really play a ton of sim games before they played game one.
Yeah.
And Gavin Lux even talked about it. He said, yeah, we've been doing these sim games. We take them seriously. We've been going at each other. And when I look back at 06, I'm like, man, I wish we would have played more sim games. I wish we would have really got into the game atmosphere. There's no doubt that Andrew Friedman and that whole crew learned a ton from, whatever their experiences were, or even an experience of the Tigers in 06 for doing those sim games. And Trey Turner right out the gates, bro.
Boom.
Second batter of the game, boom, two-run bomb, set the tone. And the Dodgers really never looked back after that. Urias pitched really well. Good enough, really. It seems like the starting pitching yesterday of the teams that didn't play was just okay.
Mm-hmm.
But the bats came out to play, and the Dodgers, it turns out, they're still really, really good.
Yeah, they're so good, man. Their lineup, it's unbelievable because they haven't had to make too many deals in the last year or so. So you forget what they did last year to get this roster put together. Sure, Turner's a perfect example of that. You get your lineup. Your lineup is Mookie Betts, Trey Turner, Freddie Freeman. Hi.
Ha!
Welcome. You're gonna have a pretty good first inning a lot of times.
Welcome.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. All right, so now
welcome everybody.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so Bruce, proven commodity with the baseball talk too, but now we got to let him out. Let him out of the cage right now.
Yeah, exactly. So Boo Daddy, we always look forward to maybe the Lambooski for NFL. We got a lot to talk about, man. Give us your week. Well, what was it? Week 5?
Week 5, baby.
Week 5 recap, brother. Let us know.
You got it, man. Gentlemen, it's great to be with you again. I mean, get this baseball out of the way now, all right? Exciting time. We talked about last week, you got the baseball playoffs, you got football, coming in, you know what I mean? Meat and potatoes of the season. It's just a great time to be alive, gentlemen. Week 5 observations. Number 1 off the top of the list, the New York Football Giants. Gentlemen, you give me a 9:30 game, I'm in the house, okay? I'm up at 8:30, showered up, chomping at the bit, just like this show. I want to see some football in London and the NFL Network. They give it to me. They give it to me the way I need it. And so the New York Giants, down 20-10 at halftime, fighting, scratching, clawing, but you just look at it and say, man, the Packers, Aaron Rodgers, man, just too much, man. They just figure it out. LaFleur, the way he's been able to win games, the way, Aaron Rodgers not turning the football over ever. You just look at that game, you're like, it's going to be a tall task for the Giants. Well, let me tell you something. The Giants came out in halftime and said, hey, Lambooski, shove it up your ass, okay? We're here to play football in London. We're going to give the fans and get some fan base out here, okay, and start building our product in London. Dude, 20-10. They come back and win 27-22, and the 2 points they give up was one of those walk out of the end zone safeties by the, at the end of the game, just to give them, shut down Aaron Rodgers and Packers in the second half. 0 points, guys. Brian Daboll, coach of the year. I mean, listen, it's still early, but let's not, look at what's going on there in New York and be impressed and say, hey, you know what, Giants? I took you a little bit. That game, that win, the way it happened. Yeah. All right. You're on my radar. I'll give you some credit. Week 5 observation, number 1 team right now in terms of just surprises and really liking the way they're playing for each other. I just really like what I saw out of Brian Daboll and the Giants. All right?
You also, by the way, you also got me that Barkley. You told me. Do you like Barkley? Took him off my first pick. Woo!
Barkley's leading fantasy football in points right now. So he left the game too with a little bit of a shoulder. You're like, oh shit, here we go. But now he came back bursting out of the locker room. They have some mojo right now, man. Yeah. He's leading the charge, man. That whole attitude he's had, I think everybody's bought into him because he is that type of player.
Yep.
All right. So again, the second observation we have, injury strike again, gentlemen. We talk on this podcast at nauseum, okay, Mr. Columbia, all right? Kiss my ass, all right, Mr. Columbia, all right? We talk at nauseum, okay, around here about the waiver wire and how when the season begins, this is where the work begins. Well, it's evident now because the truth of the matter is you got some big name guys going down. Last week alone, we had Jonathan Taylor and DeAndre Swift, 2 first-round draft picks, guys, in a lot of drafts this past year, not playing this week. So you're already into your backups. You're already seeing injuries. This past week alone, we had a ton of guys get injured, but the one that I kind of pointed out, which hurt me a lot, Rashad Penny. He broke his fibula. He's out for the season. Guys, Rashard Penny had a 6.1 yard per carry average on the year before he got hurt. The first couple weeks, it wasn't even really him. It was just he was getting 15 carries for 60 yards, 70 yards. I was like, Pete, give the guy, enough carries to get him over 100 yards. And obviously last week he has the 2 long runs. He's got like eight carries for like 54 yards and he goes down. So that makes someone later in the show a valuable add to our waiver wire, but the injuries keep piling up. So, a couple guys to keep your eye on this week, Tyreek Hill left with a little bit of a hammy leg, T. Higgins, James Conner with the rib, Chris Olave with a little concussion, and Damian Harris with the hamstring. Those are all starters on your teams. So not only are we dealing with some bye weeks, now you got to start looking at, guys that are getting hurt and guys that you can scoop up. And the last thing I'll say about the observations brings me back to Thursday night. Oh, my God. What a pig fest, man. I love football. Love football. You guys know that. I watch any game that was ever on TV since I was a child. Chinch, we talked in the first podcast about going back to having to watch Inside the NFL to get the recaps every game. Now everything's at your fingertips. Well, I don't think I'm better off because that game was at my fingertips on Thursday night. I mean, I don't know really what to say. I'm like, at some point, I know it's Thursday night. I know it's a quick turnaround. I know all that. Give me something to go to bed with and be better at. From a fantasy perspective, nobody went off at all, so you didn't really get much. I did have the Denver kicker. He caught 12, 13 points. That's actually good. So, I did go to bed happy because you know what? It's a kicker, and I don't really care. But you know what? When they do well on a Thursday night, it makes it more enjoyable for me. So, again, we got to hope that the games on Thursday night get better because, again, the NFL wants this product. They spend a lot of money for the rights. We got the Bears in Washington. I'm not going to write them off. It's not exactly sexy on paper, but guess what? It's a football game. I'm going to watch it. I just want it to be more entertaining than it was.
Good one.
Well, that's 3 hours of your life you'll never have back.
You can't get that back, Case. I want it back, but you can't.
Thursdays are bad. How about the Sunday morning games have been really good, and the Thursday night games just
really
suck.
good.
They just sucked. You can't prepare for them. Matt Castle, I asked him that question the other day. That's a name drop for you.
Yeah.
He just said,
do it, Chinch. You're talking to some big dogs over there.
No, he's like, it's the prep. It's your whole system's thrown off because Mondays you're usually in there looking back and thinking about the last game or whatever. And he's like, you can't do that when you play on Thursday. You have to go right into you're not correcting any mistakes you made in that last game. You got to look right ahead to the next team. And he's like, then you're Monday and Tuesday you're in light pads. You're not going to be in full pads because you don't have the recovery time. So they're not going to put them all, let them headbutt each other for Tuesday anymore. So by the time you hit Thursday, it's almost like your Wednesday practice, and everybody's baffled, and the games suck. Like, the product's not good, but that's not going away because a lot of money invested.
Yeah, and I've understood that for a long time, Chinch, and you know it. You know what I mean? In case you know it too, being a pro athlete, it's all about the money and the owners and their pockets at the end of the day. And they're going to keep playing it. And guys like me and you, and for fantasy, we're going to watch it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
We want to figure out how the product can be better, but you know what? That's neither here nor there.
There's two teams I want to touch on really quick, and you can roll it through. The Jets are 3-2. I don't care if you're 3-2. I mean, it still means you won 3 games. So the Jets are taking some receipts. The coach said they were going to do that. So I want to touch on that. I also want to ask you about the Steelers, bro. I want to ask you about the coaching. I want to ask you about Kenny Pickett. What's going on there in Pittsburgh? What the heck?
Something, Case, you guys couldn't get out of baseball without mentioning the Mets to give me you had to mention the Mets in 7 games and give me the dig. Okay. And I'm bleeding over here. Now you're going to talk about my beloved Steelers and have me talk about them. Holy shit. I don't know if we have enough time on this show. First of all, the Jets, it's simple. We laughed at Saleh and the whole receipt thing. We're like, really? And here we are in 5 weeks. You're like, okay, they smacked up on Miami. They had great balance. Zach Wilson is back. It's not been totally pretty. It's been effective. He's got athleticism. And, when you're an athletic quarterback and you can keep some drives alive, a la Ben Roethlisberger and the Steelers back in the day, it really helps your team. Those 3rd down and 5s where you got everybody covered and your quarterback just kind of scrambles out, for the first down or the touchdown. You're like, oh my goodness, we account for everybody. We can't account for him. And next thing you look up on the scoreboard. It's like, wow, they're going to win this game. The Jets had an unbelievable draft this past year.
Awesome.
Unbelievable draft. That first round was about as good as you can get at 3 people. So Saleh is building that foundation, and he's building, and he believes, and those guys believe in him, whether we believe in it or not. And I multiple times on this show have said, this is where you go to die, the Jets. Well, that was before Robert Saleh got there. You know what I mean? And we think we all knew that San Francisco team back in the day, he was going to bring that attitude defensively. But here we are, the offense. You got Breece Hall doing his thing. You got Carter as a running back. They're getting split carries. They're both getting fed. You know, Corey Davis came over from Tennessee. You got Garrett Wilson, who's, you know, to me, one of the top route runners in this draft. You know, Tyler Conklin comes over from wherever he came over from, Minnesota, where he's playing good tight end for them. A lot to like about the Jets, about their foundation. Now, again, it's 5 games into the season. Let's really talk about them after 17 weeks. But right now, you got to like what you see, and it's good because the Jets have been bad for a very long time. The fact they have a winning record right now, I tell me the last time they had a winning record. I don't know, and I don't even want to look it up. Secondly, we're talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers. And you know what, Case? We've been spoiled. We've been spoiled to win as many games as we've won around here. So the fan base and people like me, we just expect that. Guess what? We're not that talented overall, and we're not a very deep team. You lose TJ Watt, who, you know, you would think, oh my God, you know, it's one guy, maybe we can win a few games, but we haven't won a game without the guy, and we've won a lot with him. So he does make a difference. He is that type of difference maker. Every time the Steelers really need a play, he comes up with it, and the great ones do. And that's why he is great. When you take him off the field, there's no his replay. Like the Steelers pay their top guys a ton of money. TJ Watt's the highest paid defensive player in the year. Minka Fitzpatrick, the highest paid safety. You know, Cam Hayward. We put a lot of our money in our superstars. And so the rest of our roster can never be that good. You got to really hope that coaching and these guys are ready to step in and play. And it just doesn't happen with the Steelers. When we get injuries to certain players every year, we're just like, man, we're so weak. Last year, Stephon Tuitt doesn't come back and play. Tyson Alualu gets hurt. You can run the ball on us at will. You never could do that against the Steelers. And the last couple of years you can, because you just can't put draft capital and money in spending in the free agent market into difference makers, you know what I mean? So like they're just in a tough spot right now where, you know, when you run out Devin Bush and my boy Mickey Spillane, it's Robert Spillane, I like to say Mickey Spillane, and you expect them to play NFL caliber middle linebacker and they simply can't. Like I'm not getting upset anymore. Like they're not talented enough in those positions, and teams pick on them routinely, and we just keep running them out there. You know, Tomlin, I've hammered Tomlin over the years, just because I don't think he's a great schematic coach. Guys obviously like playing for him. You'd have to ask that locker room. I just don't see any real creativity. We always hire our offensive and defensive coordinators from within. We've talked so much about Matt Canada, all the local newspapers around here. I don't know if he's ready. I don't know if he's a good NFL. He's never had a job in the NFL, but we hire him, say, hey, be our offensive coordinator. Go check it out. You were good at Pitt, University of Pitt. This ain't University of Pitt. It's the Pittsburgh Steelers. Like, so I can't put my finger on any one thing. It's just, you know, we're going to take some lumps this year, and especially with TJ on the sideline, because he made up for a lot of things on defense for us. So there you have it.
We'll be back on 93.7 The Fan, Pittsburgh Sports Radio, right after this.
Which I listen to, along with NFL radio, along with anything that has to do with the NFL.
That was great.
I think one other quick point on that is when you look back at our draft picks over the last 10 years. The bottom line is we haven't, like you said, hey, the Jets nailed 3 draft picks. I don't think we've nailed. I'm sorry. The Steelers. The Steelers haven't. No, we,
Sean. You're a Pittsburgh native. Okay, we. All right. This is us. We're in this together.
Haven't nailed the draft picks, and that whenever and when your star players go down, how you draft and how you develop shows up at the second tier. That's just my take on it. But what about? Okay, now let's stick right here. What about? Are we gonna forget about it?
No. We got the waiver wire right now, and I'm going to run through the waiver wire quickly.
Yeah, I need these, Case. I need these for this week.
Hey, slow down, Case.
Sorry, bro. Slow down. I went to bed at 3 a.m.
Let's get to waiver wire because we're behind time right now. So let's get it.
This fucking guy.
Hey, guys.
All right, go.
I'm producing this show, Chinch. I produce this damn show, all right? I love you. Listen, week 6 is the first week we actually start seeing bye weeks. So like I said, like now is the time. Like now is streaming time. Now is where you pick up guys and you plug them in because, again, you're going to need them. Like Case, this week we got Amon-Ra St. Brown, Derrick Henry on a bye. Like those are 2 starter material guys that got a lot of points. Oh, by the way, Case, we're 9-1 in the one league. We're out in first place. We're cruising.
Let's go.
And the other league is starting to surge. So we're in good shape. Anyway,
the digits, not
Let's
the money,
go.
the digits.
Yeah,
the digits and the ZDs.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So quarterback, really nothing new here in the quarterback room. Geno Smith just continues to play well. I'm not sure. I know in one of my leagues, he's still out there. Nobody scooped him up. So that's why I mentioned him. We talked about him before. He's just right now playing just great football. Scoop him up. You can play him and not even worry about it. The only real injury was Teddy Bridgewater this past week, where he had the concussion, he left, but you're not taking Thompson or anybody in that team anyway. So again, if you want to stream somebody, you're looking at Daniel Jones maybe with those Giants playing better. The fact he's not turning the ball over could get you some yards on the ground. Daniel Jones is real, factor this week, possibly versus the Ravens, whose defense has not been exactly Raven-like, which we're used to, all right? So I can definitely give him a shot. Jameis Winston's another guy. Listen, he might be coming back this week. Andy Dalton's kept the, train going a little bit. But Jameis Winston, we know one thing about Jameis. He's going to throw the ball. We're just not sure if it's going to be to his player or to the other team's player. But he's going to throw it a lot. And in fantasy, when you're talking about a streamer and you want to try to get some potential points, you take a guy that's going to chuck it a lot, and he'll definitely chuck it a lot for you. Like I said, not exactly sure whose hands it's going to land in, but he's a guy that you have to consider. All right? So let's get to the meat and potatoes of the waiver wire, baby. It's some running backs I like this week. First guy is Kenneth Walker. My man, Rashad Penny. I hate to see you go, but guess what? Kenneth Walker couldn't be in a better spot. You take over that role, all right? Last week, he took over when Rashad went out, busted a 69-yard touchdown run. He's a big physical dude. I loved watching him at Michigan State. He's definitely somebody you got to put, a lot of your fab money on if you have it, and go out and get him if you're in line with the waiver wire. Cannot miss on a guy like that. Some teams should probably have him, but if he's out there, you need to go and get him. DJ Dallas is the backup there now. DJ Dallas has been in that offense for a while. And again, we don't really know much about Kenneth Walker besides he's a really good rookie. He had her hernia surgery. So you never know. You always want to kind of look ahead. He's the type of guy that you can look at and say, you know what, maybe I'll take a shot on him in case I don't get Mr. Kenneth Walker. The next guy case we talk about was Eno Benjamin. 2 weeks back, I told you about him, but Darrell Williams came in and kind of stole some carries from him. So you're like, okay, Eno, what's going to go on here? Well, James Conner and Mr. Darrell Williams leave with injuries. Eno becomes the starting back right away. Keep an eye on the situation this week. If Eno is on your waiver wire, pick him up. If he starts, you don't, at this point in the season with bye weeks and guys hurt, you don't skip on a guy that's been a starting material for a team that's going to see the bulk of carries. The only other guys that I talk about in the past were Tyler Algier and Brian Robinson. I asked you to pick up those guys last week. The same thing goes this week. Algier is kind of in a split, but they like him over there. And Brian Robinson got his feet wet coming back from getting shot in the tuchus and the knee. And he got 9 carries for 22 yards. It wasn't special, but he runs downhill. And I think Washington really likes him. All right. You also got to keep an eye on the Colts backfield. Nyheim Hines was starting on Thursday night and got walloped. Case, I'm talking to a wallop, like tried to come off the ground, got up. It's like, bro, get him on the sideline. He got knocked in the next week. I love Nyheim Hines and what he could bring to the table, but that was a bad concussion. He has had an extra 2 days to recover. So if he's starting, you throw him out there, Jonathan Taylor. But those 2 guys in the backfield were Deion Jackson, who ran hard downhill. So if he's out there, possibly scoop him up. Phillip Lindsay is another guy. Used to be with the Broncos, played against his old team, runs hard. He split the carries with Deion, even though Deion looked a little better. So you can scoop up those guys if you want. All right. The last running back I'm going to mention is Jerick McKinnon for the Kansas City Chiefs. Just kind of like that third wheel there guy. Isaiah Pacheco, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, those guys are fancy, but McKinnon just won't go away. And we know that Andy's going to ride the hot hand, and McKinnon was the hot hand on Monday night, and he rode him. And the guy is a great receiver out of the backfield. Case, you're crushing some like wonderful looking drinks there. Some beautiful ladies delivering some stuff to you. Like, I should be there.
It's beautiful.
Got my morning green drink, guys. Get the day going, and Sarah's whipping it up for me.
That's green drink phenomenal.
Beautiful.
Man, it just caught my attention out of the corner of my eye while I was dead in the middle of my my running backs. But Jerick McKinnon, man, he's just a guy you got to have around. Again, any of those injuries to those other guys and he plugs in, he just needs opportunities. It's not a matter of him being talented or having success. He was the playoff guy for them last year. So Jerick McKinnon's definitely out there. You got to scoop him up. Some wide receivers I would talk about, and we talked about two of these guys, Alec Pearson, George Pickens. I'm coming back to these rookies. Both those guys are gaining speeds. Each of the last 2 weeks, more balls thrown their way, more success. They passed the eye test. These guys are long, strong dudes. And again, I think with their quarterbacks right now looking their way, you got to consider them. Nico Collins, my other guy, preseason hype last year and this year abound. And guess what? It's not happening for Brandon Cooks this year. The teams are coming out and stopping him. So Houston's looking for a number 2. Nico's been there the last couple of weeks. He's ascending. He's definitely a guy you got to look at. He's on a lot of waiver wires, and I think he might be playable moving forward. Michael Gallup for the Dallas Cowboys. All right, Big D. Now, Dak is closing into a return. Gallup came off a knee injury, that ACL, and has progressively gotten a little bit better, looking a little bit better, and getting more involved in the offense. I think right now is the time to strike with Michael Gallup, especially when Dak comes back, because they have the connection. They have that, good connection from the past. Noah Brown's not going anywhere. I think he's a very serviceable wide receiver, and you got CeeDee Lamb. So good problems to have for Big D, all right? And, that offense is just being opportunistic. Michael Gallup, we've seen him have some big games and be very productive in this league. So a guy you should look at. So the last wide receiver is Tyler Boyd. T. Higgins banged up again. T's taking some big shots this year. I don't like it. You got Jamar Chase. Teams are obviously zeroing in on him this year. Tyler Boyd, we've seen him have a lot of success. Pittsburgh native case. So he's a guy, if he's out there, you want to scoop him up. You kind of always want to look ahead. And who knows this week? If T. Higgins is out by any chance with that hammy, then you plug and play him and don't worry about it. And now we're going to move on to the tight end position. And I guess we have to talk about just a phenomenal football player in Taysom Hill. You get tight end eligibility out of this guy, and he's pretty much doing everything. He had 4 touchdowns last week, fellas, 3 on the ground and 1 throwing. You get that out of a tight end position, it's incredible, like stealing points. And now we know that there might be potential for a bust because, again, he's a little bit gadget heavy and game script dependent. But at this point, it's like, who you running out there at tight end? And we talk so many times about the tight end position just being just disgusting this year if you don't have the top 2 guys. Taysom Hill, pick him up, put him in, enjoy the gadgetry, and hopefully he brings you to a W each week. Hayden Hurst is the other guy. CJ Uzomah, who's out in New York now, was fantasy relevant at times last year with Cincinnati. Joe Burrow kind of likes that safety net in the middle of the field with tight end. So he uses Hayden Hurst. Played his old team, the Ravens, this past week, got a touchdown. Look, he's serviceable right now. So again, he's out on a lot of people's, waiver wires. Go scoop him up, man. You can do a lot worse than Hayden Hurst, And again, if you're looking for defenses, because now we're into that streaming and you got maybe some D's on a bye, just look at the Thursday night game, guys. We got the Commanders versus the Bears. The Bears came to life a little bit last week on offense, but again, it's a Thursday night game. We know you can't prep and do the things you want to. And offensively, these games are usually a little bit like ugly. So why not? You got Washington, you got Chicago. Those defenses are definitely out there. Stream them and play them. Good luck. All right, fellas. I think you know what we're about to get into.
Let's do it. We got to go for it. What do we got?
Well, let's go for it. And let's forget about it, boys. All right. Yeah. So listen, this is the section you've all been waiting for. And I'm going to help out some people that are with us now. And if you are just with us now, shame on you. Smack yourself, okay? And get back in the rhythm, all right? We'll like JJ Watt. We'll shock your heart back in the rhythm if you got some atrial fib, okay? The bottom line is this is forget about it. And what we do is we go on both ends of the spectrum. If you got a guy that had like a dud week, you want to forget about it. You got a guy that had a super stud week. You want to forget about it, baby. Okay. Yeah. So listen, let's get right into it. All right. This week, the first guy up for forget about it is Mr. Darren Waller. Let me tell you why this one stings so much, Mr. Darren Waller, because you're a little bit banged up all week, right? So we don't know. It's a Monday night game, but you come out on Friday and you practice. And when you practice on Friday, that really leads up to playing. And you got the extra day of rest, which is a Monday night. On the flip side of it, if you play on Monday night, I got nobody else. If I play, I'm just sitting there watching you. And if I needed a few points for you, like one of my buddies called me up, he said, I need Darren Waller 6 points tonight. I'm like, high scoring game, which is supposed to be. And it was 30-29 final. You're in good shape. All of a sudden, I'm like, yo, did Darren Waller make the trip? Did he make the trip? Because he had 0 receptions for 0 yards. Forget about it. Just forget about it. Now, he did leave with a hamstring early, but again, injuries are part of it, so we can't leave them out of this. The end of the day, you had 0 points for your fantasy team on a Monday night. You want to go to bed happy. You're like, Lord, it's fantasy heaven. It's the week. Forget about it. Move on, all right? The next dud of the week this week was Mr. Russell Wilson. Now, I hate to beat a man when he's down, fellas. That's not my MO. Trust me. I try to pick people up 6 championships, man. All I do is pick people up, okay? But Russell Wilson, you're making it hard on me, all right? You don't like your situation in Seattle, right? You don't like what's going on. It's Pete Carroll. Oh, it's me. It's you. All these guys, these coaches. What is it? Oh, let me go to Denver and see what I can do. Guys, that game was so bad. It was hard to watch, and his decision-making, worst of anything, that you're bad, you took points off the board. And again, I have the Denver kicker, so they're in field goal range, and I'm like, all right, listen, terrible puke game Thursday night game. I got a kicker. I'm watching it. I'm into it. 21 of 39, 279 yards, not bad, 74 yards, 2 picks, so minus 2 out of those. You got between 6 to 10 points from your starting quarterback on a Thursday night, and it was Russell Wilson. Forget about it. Just forget about it. Move on. Russell, I'm not sure things are going to get better. You guys got to do something over there.
Bro, we say in baseball, he was just slinging poop soup around, just throwing poop soup everywhere.
Grab Case, running up to the bat rack. When is it my turn up, Coach? Tell me. All right, I'm sitting here swinging a heavy stick. I'm gonna go grab the big boy out of the bat rack and see if I can make contact. All right. So again, just forget about it, Russell Wilson. We hope you have better days. All right. The last guy, and not least, on this side of the street, is our boy TJ Hawkinson. Wait, you're going to say something. Last week he was on the other side of this. Forget about it, TJ. But this week, guess what? It's a new week in the NFL, all right? And each week brings us something new. TJ Hawkinson, you got a beat-up wide receiver room. You got your starting running back out. You're heading into New England to face Bill Belichick. Well, guess what? Bill Belichick knows if you're the best player on that team or one of the best, I got to shut you down and see if somebody else can beat me. Well, Bill Belichick shut you down because you had 1 catch for 6 yards. Forget about it. Just forget about it. This is not something that you want to even talk about after the game he had last week. 179 yards, 8 receptions, 2 touchdowns, and an extra. Bill Belichick. Yeah, you're right. New England. Bye-bye. They're not that good. They got some. If he wants to shut you down, he shuts you down. There's nothing you can do about it. TJ, there's nothing you can do about it. Forget about it. See you next week. All right? Now, boys, we're on to the other side of things. Some studs this week. You know what? And this is going to be reminiscent of TJ Hawkinson because the first guy I'm going to mention, Gabe Davis. You went 1 catch for 13 yards last week. We talked about you. But this week, Gabe, 3 receptions, 171 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Forget about it. It was incredible. Listen. We needed Gabe Davis, Case. We got him. We got some shares of him. We were kind of waiting. We knew that this week was going to be nice. I mentioned last week after we talked about him on the other side of the forget about it. Hey, he's got the perfect matchup this week. He's got my beloved Steelers. Well, so what does he do? He catches a 98-yarder and a 69 or 62-yarder. Dude, 35 plus points. You got everything you needed out of Gabe Davis. All right. Thank you,
you know what? I'd like to chime in right now. And Gabe Davis for the fantasy team, I'd like to give him one.
Whoa, yes, Case is involved. This is
hey, Case, slow down over there. All right, must be that juice drink that got you all fired up. All right,
keep going.
All right, so listen, thank you for that. So the next guy up again, and it ties along with this, and this guy could be in this section every week. His name it's Gabe's quarterback, Mr. Josh Allen. Now, listen, 20 of 31 for 424 yards and 4 touchdowns. Forget about it. The problem here is he could have had 600 or 700 yards and 6 or 7 touchdowns if they decided to keep their pedal to the metal, which to me is the reason why I brought him up here, because those numbers were almost first half numbers, for Christ's sake. They were so good. It was like, are you kidding me? Are the Steelers playing? It was funny to watch that. But again, Josh Allen, he's just too good. He could be on this section every week. And right now, if you have Josh Allen, you're probably in tops of your fantasy leagues or somewhere near the top. The guy has just been so good. You know what I mean? It was embarrassing for the Steelers. And you know what? But for Josh Allen, it was forget about it, baby. Let's go. Move on. All right. Our last stud in this segment is none other than Leonard Fournette. Lenny, playoff Lenny. All right, listen, playoff Lenny's numbers. 139 yards and 2 touchdowns. You look at that and you say, man, that's a pretty good day. But get this. He caught 10 balls, 10 receptions out of your running back position. Are you kidding me? Forget about it, baby. Leonard Fournette, 35-plus points, carried your fantasy team. Playoff Lenny, I got some shares of you. I need you. You're playing the Steelers this week. Give me a repeat. And, gentlemen, that's all we have for this week.
All right,
Good.
love it. You got to love it. Wednesday morning, shot out of cannon, baby.
Unbelievable.
Shot out of cannon. Let's go.
Feed me raw meat.
Wow, we did it. I did not think we were going to be able to turn this around like this, boys, but we did it. Boo with his stopwatch going in his head. He's got the internal clock going. Good job.
Chinch, you turned me into a monster. Your producer hat. It's just I'm sucking it in through the screen,
Beautiful,
bro.
beautiful.
Oh, man, if you didn't love that, yeah, and for all the people, we say it every week, but, we love bringing the Lambooski on Wednesdays. Download to us, subscribe, all the stuff, fantasy football, baseball news, everything, all the stuff that we're doing. So, man, love it, guys. Chinch,
Yeah, bro.
love you guys. Great show. Let's go. I'm going to go take a nap for the rest of the day. No, I'm not. I'm getting on a flight back to Pittsburgh. Let's go. I'll see you soon.
Yeah.
Out
See you,
there.
boys.
Chinch, I love you, man. I'll see you
you,
soon.
buddy.
All right, man.
See you, boys.
See you, boys.